Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Hope everyone has been enjoying the start of the new week. As always, fan podcast dedicated to Manchester United Football Club. Like, subscribe, follow on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. And then don't forget to follow on Instagram, X, and as well as TikTok as well. I know my social media presence hasn't been the best, but I am working on it. I was definitely active on Twitter the last little bit. Not today, but I think I may have posted something today. But in the last, at least in the last 24 hours, I have kind of posted a few things on my social media, to say the least. Yeah, I did post something today in regards to Manchester United. But yeah, here we are again. And I know I said I'd be back with a new episode today. Well, I said that yesterday, and I would be back today. And here I am with an episode. Why am I back with another episode again? Because, well, fuck, we all know what's going on. We all know that the whole fan base media is turning on Ruben Amorim. I haven't turned on him. This is kind of my episode of, pleading with him. Listen, I don't want him to change because we're a year into starting something. Yes, the performances haven't been the best. But to be fair, we're seeing some good things with the team. I even saw it last year when we were playing in Europe and doing certain things against certain Premier League squads. But listen, Ruben should be staying. That's what I'm staying here. Like, Ruben should be staying. And unfortunately, the players, how do I put this politely? They need to fuck off. There, that's the nicest thing I'm gonna have to say. I can't be anything worse. But like, I'm sorry to say, but it's the truth. And today, seeing the fan base just listen, it's majority of it. Not everyone, but it's the majority of it. And I've seen the small, I shouldn't say small minority. I've seen a minority standing up for Ruben. But, and one, before anything, I do need to make a correction. No, I mentioned Shaw last episode as being part of the leadership group, but he's not. I'm going to get into the leadership group again. But yeah, the players need to fucking get their head out of there. Like, we're in an issue here where the players don't show up. I don't care what you do on your Instagram post or whatever. We're going to come back better next time. I don't care. You didn't show up today. Ruben, like, everyone is talking about his first year. We haven't even had a full, proper season from beginning to end. And we still have to go through a January transfer window where we need to unload players. We do. And I would like to start with unloading our captain. It's the truth. And like I've mentioned many a times in episodes, there has to be something going on behind the scenes that we're not aware about. And unfortunately, our captain, Bruno, listen, I'm a fan. I have his jersey. I love the guy. Because, again, I support the Portuguese national team. I support him there too. But I'm not going to support him. Like, I'll support the badge and the jersey. But when it's coming to this, I'm going to go towards the captain because he's the leader. The leadership group that we have, which is Mesraoui, Licha, Bruno, Delo, Tom Heaton, like they're supposed to be the people that need to be getting this team ready, like mentally ready for every game. And yes, Harry Maguire as well. So we have 6 members that are led by our captain. 2 are injured, which are not helping. We have a goalie who is third on the box, who has been there for a long time. And we have a player who is a former captain, and we have our current captain, and we have a player who just is not being consistent in this system. they are not backing their manager. I'm going to call them out on it. They're not backing their manager. You can say it, but you need to show it on the pitch. The manager will give you instructions. The manager will tell you what to do. I was listening to a podcast today. I do. I'm usually listening to a United podcast every day. But I'm going to give a shout out to Manchester is Red podcast that I listened to today. And they mentioned something there in discussion of Ruben. You can talk about the stubbornness, the tactics, whatever. Guess what? Sir Alex was stubborn too. And we saw what came out. Matt Busby was stubborn back in the day. We've had managers who have been stubborn, who have brought in things to help with the club. But we've seen what it can lead to. And yes, Ruben can be that way, but Ruben needs to get these players to understand, and Ruben has been trying to get this thing under control. And today, when I was listening to the podcast, they mentioned one thing. When they talked to former players of Ruben, he would micromanage them at the beginning, but in the end, the players understood where they needed to go, where they needed to be. They could literally be blindfolded, and they knew where to be on the pitch at all times. Since Ruben has come in, and they've noticed this, and even sometimes I have as well, is he's there telling players where they need to be all the time. He is micromanaging them. He is on them. We have been here for a year, and the players still are not willing to be told what to do. They're not. Like, they can't form a pass. They can't be consistent. Like, again, my episode for Brentford, consistency, discipline, and finish. We got one of them kind of, and that was a finish. Like, that was half a finish. We didn't get consistency because we can't get a team back together, wins back to back. That is on the players. The manager sets the goal. He does make the changes. He tells them what he needs to be done. He tells them where to go, how to do this. But the players just can't comprehend it. And that's the concerning part. If he is able to have players say, we can be blindfolded and know where to be on the pitch, and where he doesn't need to have to tell us where we need to be, that means something is working. That means the players can understand. But these players, the United players, this leadership group, who is supposed to be there, and to be fair, we only have 3 of those players that play on the field out of this leadership group, because Leach is injured. Mazraoui's had his third injury already. So our leadership group is doing nothing. I haven't heard anything from Leach as a member of the leadership group to tell his teammates to get their act together. Like, I'm not seeing anything from Maz. DeLitt, who I believe, and I've mentioned it, should be the future captain of this club, and I think it should be next season. If not, rip it off of Bruno now and put it on DeLitt now. And then dismantle that leadership group. Because it's not working. Ruben is trying to get things set there. And you know what? We got rid of players because they weren't working with Ruben. We have more players that aren't working with Ruben, and they need to go. Starting with our captain, starting with Diego Dalot, starting with Luke Shaw. Like, Casemiro is here, but he's gone at the end of the season, so I don't even think he cares what's going on. They don't care. Seriously. I'm sure Dalot doesn't care either. Because in their mind, they're probably like, well, it's going to be another manager that we've gotten sacked. Oh, well, but we'll still remain. This is where we break the cycle where Ruben stays. And having Sir Jim and this board saying that he's staying is one good thing. What annoys me is hearing the fan channels and the media saying, well, come November 1st, he will be gone. The international break, he won't be here. We need to get a new manager. I am not hearing one fan channel say, well, why isn't our leadership group doing anything? Why is it that our team cannot comprehend everything? And you can talk about Bruno being there in the middle and Kobe. Kobe has not been impressive when he has been on the field. Kobe wasn't impressive last year when he was on the field. Kobe wasn't good before Ten Hag was sacked. Kobe was one of those players that contributed for Ten Hag being sacked. So was Bruno, so was Diego Dalot, so was Harry Maguire, so was Luke Shaw has no leg to stand on for the way he has been. But in this essence here, the manager sets out the game plan. We can win a game and not do anything the next. And Ruben has came out and said it, and it describes everything about the mentality of this club. Is I don't know which team's going to show up. And you know what? Ruben is right. Ruben has been honest with everything going on. By not sacking Ruben, we break the cycle. None of this Xavi Hernandez, none of this manager from Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace manager still plays a 3-4-3, ladies and gentlemen. That's not going to, we know it's not the formation. It's not the manager. He's not saying that he's out of depth. He knows what he's doing. You know what it is? It's the players. We know what needs to be done. We know there's some stuff going on in the background about these players. But when you have a group like this, who, let's be honest, Harry Maguire, Diego Dalot, and Tom Heaton, who have been here for ages, have seen the revolving door of managers, and you have them as your leadership group, we had our concerns about it, but no. For me, I am not going to be like some of the fan groups out there saying that are turning on Amorim. No, I'm not turning on Amorim. I'm turning on the players. This is a call out to the players. And if you're listening to my episode of the podcast, oh well, thank you first. But this is my message to you. Show up. You all know that it's not the system. You don't. You know. You know it's that Bruno, who is our captain, has no discipline and runs around. And you know what? You can say, well, Bruno should be benched. This isn't us. There's definitely something there on why he has to play. And it's not because of his position, whatever. It definitely has something to do with his contract. But you know why we got probably Mbuemo and Cunha for a reason? Because maybe we're phasing Bruno out of the 10 because we need players there. Maybe we have Bruno there because we need someone who can control the ball and move it up, but Bruno fails to do that. Kobe has struggled with that. We gave Kobe a start against Grimsby, and we saw what happened with Grimsby. We saw opportunities when he's come in, and nothing special. We saw what he was like with Ten Hag, but here we are. And keep saying that Ruben Amorim is playing players out of position. We have had managers that have played all of our players in the position, and yet they got sacked. We had Ten Hag putting Rashford on the left because that's all he wanted to do, and we got upset with that. We got upset with Ten Hag because he didn't have a proper formation and a system and identity like he did at Ajax to bring it here. At least the one thing he said was that he was honest was that Man United cannot play the way I want to play. Let's all remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Ten Hag said that. Ten Hag said that in going into his second year with Manchester United. These players cannot play the way we played at Ajax. Fast forward to Ruben Amorim. Some of those players that he was talking about are still here, and those players can't play. Those players cannot play any other system. They can only play the one that they want to play. And unfortunately, we're not changing to that. By sticking with Ruben, you're breaking the mold. By bringing in a culture, by building something there, you're breaking the endless cycle. And fans, I know fans want results. Fans don't want regulation. They don't want this, and this. And I don't want to be relegated. Don't get me wrong. I don't. You know what I want? I want players changed. And I guarantee you there is restrictions and something holding Ruben back as this is going on. We only see what happens in the press conferences and on the field on game day. We don't know what happens in the boardroom. We don't know what happens in the players' locker room. We don't. But what we do here is that players aren't happy. So what? They weren't happy with Ten Hag. They weren't happy with Ollie. They're not playing in the position that they want. We had managers letting them play in the position they want, and they still fired them, the managers. Our captain said it's easier to fire a manager than 22 players. Remember that. Should Bruno have gone? Yes. I've said that I even said when the talks were going on when we're leading into the final that Bruno is probably leaving. And I wish he had. I wish we had sold Diego Dalot. I wish all that stuff. I wish, Harry Maguire, who's had the great redemption arc and has helped us win games, has been fantastic. But he needs to start looking at going soon. Casemiro is out the door. You think he's going to be wanting to do a whole new formation? Come on. The writing's right there on the wall. He doesn't care about this formation. We're seeing the performance there. He was upset when Erik ten Hag was asking him to run too much. And we saw him come into his second season out of shape. He was out of shape when he played with Ruben last year at the beginning and got benched for it. It's time to say to our captain, go. And Ruben's called out Bruno for his discipline. But at the same time, too, Kobe is struggling when he comes on. But there's a lot of things going on that we were probably not aware of. And it's something that I question about Rashford with contracts and playing time. There's potential with that. And Bruno got that new contract with the Glazers way prior to Ten Hag being sacked. And I wonder what control he got with that. As much as Ruben may have said, it's great that we have Bruno staying, like Bruno wants to stay. Was that the truth? But Bruno is playing in a position, he's been in that position enough that this is his position. He knows what to do. He is failing. And if he is playing a down tool, rip the armband off, get a new captain. The new leadership group should have been the new players that Ruben should have decided. But I think this was a combined effort of board. I think if we're going to have a new era, it has to start with players who are going to be here in new leadership. Starting with Delit, Mazraoui, I have no argument against that. He should be in that leadership group. Cunha and Buemo should be in there as well. I would have added Casemiro in there for his final season to have that veteran leadership there. But you should have phased out players. You should have phased out like Harry Maguire, who's going to his final year. Bruno, who we know is leaving for Saudi. And I hope, from what it looks like, it's potentially hopefully in January. But we have to start looking at what's going on here. So Ruben needs to stay, in my opinion. It is. It's the truth. Ruben does need to stay. We need to break the mold of this, where we're keeping a manager and building what we've always been asking for. What we asked of Ten Hag. What Ollie wanted. What Ranić even said that it's like... Ranić said that things need to change. There are still players here from Ranić. It's got to come. Like, Ineos knew the board. This fan base knew. Like, don't get me wrong. I believe I said top 6. But I also mentioned who we were facing for that top 6 and the struggle that we're going to be. The top half is tough. Palace, Castle, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. We are facing clubs that have gotten better. We're facing challenging clubs. Crystal Palace is no slouch. Nottingham Forest. Aston, like the one team from last year, Aston Villa, who is struggling. Tottenham should be better, ladies and gentlemen. But again, let's break it down here. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Tottenham. That's 8 teams right there that are just trying to battle that we have to battle with for top 8. We would be 9th if potential, like just hypothetical. I'm not saying we are 9th, but like we that's who we're facing. The league has gotten better. Let's not pretend that we're not. Like but here we are. We have to start breaking the mold of replacing managers and start looking at what we need to. We need to follow through with the plan. But the players, if they have to be micromanaged, it's not that it's overloading for the manager. It's that these players are not willing to buckle down because some of these players believe they're going to outlive Amorim. And they're winning right now. The players are winning. They're winning to the point where the manager is in a fight with them. And I don't want this November 1st thing. I don't want this. This is where Amorim needs to stay. And as we build and build and build with the players there and start implementing things that we need, then we're going to get better. But there's a lot of things that I'm seeing that we're not aware of. And I guarantee it, Bruno has so much control. But maybe it's time for Bruno to leave. Maybe it's time to start selling off that leadership group that we have that are so-called leaders of this club. But I am backing Amorim because I believe what we can do. I saw it last year with performances. Xerxes has gotten better. We've seen what Xerxes can do in this system. We've seen what Amad Diallo can do in this system. We know what Cunha and Mbuemo can do. Dorgu has gotten better. Individuals have gotten better. We know how well Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Euro are together in that back three. Where do you think the struggle has been? Definitely in the middle. Again, it's never been the formation. It has been players. It has been weak mentality. We saw it last year. Consistency can sometimes be on the manager, but it should always be on the players. You cannot go in to win. We saw it last year. Ruben called it out. And like I mentioned earlier on, I quoted him like saying, I don't know which team's going to show up. And that team has lived up to that quote. They have. Just like when Ten Hag said, these players cannot play the way I want them to play. I have to do something. Like, he had to reinvent something for this club. It's the truth. It had to be reinvented. Ruben's not going to reinvent. He's staying his ways because this is what we've wanted. This is like, we're getting what we want, and now we're asking it to go. That is such a United fan base thing to do. It really is. But it has to stay. He has to stay. He cannot be sacked. We have to start looking at the January transfer window to start telling players to go. But for all we know what could be happening in those meetings with Sir Jim, with Brailsford, with all of them. We know what's there. Wilcox. We know what's going on in there. But sorry for the draw. I don't know why I mentioned Brailsford, especially when Brailsford left. But Brailsford, he's always just been there. But yes, Wilcox. But this Ineos group, Brailsford's still there, but you know what I mean. But right now, we're at that point where the Ineos group needs to work with Ruben to start moving the players out. That includes saying goodbye to Bruno, saying goodbye to some of these players, and moving on forward. That's how we break the mold. Sir Alex had to get rid of all the guys who loved Haley, like drinking heavily. Like the partiers drinking in the locker room, he had to get rid of that. That took him years to get rid of. Like, he had his struggles. We're going to have to do this too if we're going to do it properly. But it can't be with rotation of different managers. It can't be. Keeping Ruben here, you can say, yeah, we kept Aaron Ten Hag, but we have to go beyond 2.25 years. We have to. We have to go longer with that. But we can't let the players win. We can't let them obsess with this culture. We have to invent a culture and bring it back to the locker room. We have to be what United have always stood for, not just from the Sir Alex ways, but even from the Matt Busby days. We have to bring it to a point where we remember what this club and this history is all about. And it has to stay. He has to stay. These players cannot stay. We change out the players. Marino wanted it. Ollie wanted it. Ranić wanted it. I'm sure Louis van Gaal wanted it. Ten Hag even wanted it. We shouldn't have to be settled with the players that we're given. We should have to be able to build with the players that we want. And I think that time is now. That time is to sell is now. It has to come this January. If players want to play for this badge, they have to buy into the manager and they have to accept the criticism. So, but yeah. You can talk about all the new managers that are in this list or whatever, but they're none of the managers that I want. You want the Crystal Palace manager? He plays the same formation, ladies and gentlemen. No. You want Xavi Hernandez because he played coach for Barca? Who cares? Graham Potter, Sir, what's his name? I forgot his name. And I have it in my head, especially when he got, let's just talk about, oh my God, how can I forget? I have to look this up like this way. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, Gareth Southgate is one of them, too. Like, we were all here before, this was all last year, too, before Ten Hag got fired, too. The same people, the same list. I think Pochettino, Pochettino in the States. He's there's talks of him. No, but he's going to stay with Team USA to get them ready for the World Cup. The best option is to keep Ruben here. None of this money for his salary, none of this, yada, yada, yada. But we have to make it work. We do. And having the board back him is a right thing. And I think him saying a full season, and I'm okay with him here till the end of next season. The end of this season. We have to do the January transfer. We have to get the midfield going. We have to build. We have to get the players that we want. And we know what it's there. There is. So, yeah, this is my depth of, that's my plea. And it's mostly me going after the players. And it may sound repetitive, it may have sound all that, but right now we have to look at what's being held. Like, if the players should know what they need to do, and there's nothing complicated about it. There isn't. There's nothing complicated about what should be done. What's complicated is that the players lack accountability. That's what it is. And then we're going to hear in the news media how the players like, oh, we should have done more for him. We've done it again. Shut up. Like, that's the biggest lie, and every fan base channel is falling for it. We should be backing the manager and telling the players, you either go with him or leave. We just did a bomb squad, and we have other players there that need to join that type of thing. And yes, it's last year. It's Bruno is one of them. Diego Dalot should be going too. Harry Maguire, with his redemption, should just finish out his that and just go forward. Casemiro, he's probably on his way out. Ugarte is probably going to be on his way out. We're going to see that. If Amad Diallo isn't willing to, he should go too. If Kobe's willing to put it in and be what he needs to be, he should stay. But we saw what players can do, what the age can do. We saw what Aiden Heaven can do. We've seen what Lenny Euro can do. We've seen what De Ligt can do in the system. We've seen it there. There is a bright spot with this club. The question is, Nsemi Lamens should be starting. I believe I think he is going to be starting on Saturday against Sunderland. And you know what? Bring him aboard. Get him ready, especially during the international break and preparing for Liverpool. We have to get him there. Because there's no way the players' mentality for if they win and then the players' mentality against Liverpool, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to show up on Saturday, show what they did, like they did with Burnley, like they did with Chelsea, just showing that pride. And they're going to flop against Liverpool. We're setting up for the same international break. We're going to have the type of win we do on Saturday. That's going to spark everything for the ages. And then here we go, come back, and the players are going to be like, well, fuck, we just couldn't handle Liverpool. Like, come on. We know. And then you know what? Like, that's the manager sets everything up and can change everything there. But let's be honest. Look at the personnel that he has, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not be fucking kidding ourselves about substitutions. Come on. We went with this with Ten Hag last year. Well, why was Ten Hag substituting this and this? Why didn't he put in Ugarte? Some players, like with Ten Hag, he had still some new players, but at the same time too, some of his selections weren't the best because some of his substitutes weren't the best. So let's not kid ourselves. So remember this. Players have played in their proper positions before with other managers and they got the manager sacked. Now we have a manager who wants them to play in certain positions and tells them what to do. They don't like that, and they're going to get him potentially sacked. But for me, no. Ruben has to stay. The players have to go. So, but that's it for me today. Yeah, I'm going to need to start doing a live episode soon. I know. Yeah, in the end, I'm back in the manager. If you didn't get this whole episode, it's about back in the manager. It is. And I know everyone's going to be like, well, it's easier to fire a manager than players. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that need to change in this group, and we need to change those players. So, but yeah, I'll be back Thursday with a new episode of the pod. Doing the preview against Sunderland. So hopefully we'll have Mazraoui, we know, is already out, so we won't see him there. Casemiro should be back. We know, I don't know what's the status on Ahmad, if we'll see him back for the game. If not, it's not going to be until after. If he's not back, then we won't see him until international break, because this is the last game before international break. So that's, yeah. But yeah, I'll be back Thursday to do that preview with my squad lineup. So we'll see how that progresses. But yeah, we'll see how more of the week goes. Again, you're going to see all this week Ruben Amorim talk out this, change managers, secret talks that our board is having behind our managers, like Gotta love these reports. Gotta love these rumors, how everyone just feeds into the situation. So, so enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the next couple days. I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, feedback. Don't forget Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and then on Instagram, X, and TikTok as well. I'll talk to you guys Thursday. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick Podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.